Have you ever felt time fracture, not with a crash, but with the softest step and wood? For me, that sound was the beginning up and up who I used to be. My name is Alice. I am 25, but some mornings you wake up feeling 100 years old. Like a vibrate casts interest, I can't afford to pay. I live on the 5th floor of a talled brick wall club in the east end of the city. The kind of building where the radiator hisses like it is a gossiping, and the hallway always smells faintly of someone else's dinner. 3 months ago, I still had a decent job doing graphic design for a mid-sized agency downtown. Then came Series Traction. One Tuesday they handed me a box and a polite smile and told me my position had been eliminated. Just like that, se steady rhythm of my life turned into static rent was due the first of every month. Be the second month with no paycheck, I was eating plain rice and whatever was under industrial at the corner market. My phone stayed face down because every notification was another collect. Another friendly reminder, I stopped sending texts from my mom because he called the to head away in her voice when he didn't say everything was fine. The landlord, ese, name is Victeale. Late 40s. Always in tailored shirts that call up storm clouds. Her salted at the temples, watch that costs more than my old car. Moves like a man who has never once been told no and actually believed it. When he passes in the hall, he smells like cedar and something dark underneath. Like smoke you can't see, started finding reasons to stop by. First it was the radiator making a noise. Then it was a notice about the fire escapes. Each time his eyes lingered half a second too long, like he was taking inventory. I never said anything rude. Victor doesn't need to. Speaks in calm, reasonable sentences that somehow make you feel you read a one being dramatic if you object. One greatest day the knock came again. It was in the same sweatpants I wore for 4 days, hair twisted up with a pencil because her ties felt like a lache. Through Sepefole, I saw victim too many didn't know. One carried a metal clipboard like a prop. Se had carried nothing at all, I opened the door because pretending it wasn't a hole felt more exhausting than facing whatever this was afternoon. Alice, Victor said, voice smooth as sport concrete. Was a balik traveling down from 6. Want to take but a minute, they stepped inside before he answered. The man with the clipboard went straight to the kitchen and opened my refrigerator without asking. Se had one, broad shoulders, leather jacket, faint scar across one eyebrow, looked at me and snapped his fingers. Don't I know you? You used to work at Prisamico, right? So your face under Instagram, my stomach folded in on itself. I managed the nut, I grinned like we were old friends. Small while, Victor watched the exchange that we could watch as a decide whether the window is really glass. They wandered through my 1200 square feet like they were pricing it for. Action. The man with no clipboard poured himself the rest of my cheap peanut into a coffee mug and raised it in a mac toast. To better days, I said, is never leaving me Victor leaned against my counter. Things tight right now, Alice? I asked it gently, almost kindly. You know my door is always open if you need. Options I left too high too thin. I am good. Just waiting on catbacks, says Cartman's Mirket. There is more than one kind of catback, sweetheart. They left 20 minutes later. Taking the rest of my wine and the way illusion that my apartment still belonged to me alone that night, a text lit up my phone from a number. I hadn't saved yet somehow already dreaded Victor, you look tired today. Let me take some weight off. Dinner tomorrow, nothing fancy, I stared at the screen until the letters bled. I told myself I would say no. I told myself I would block the number. Take a back, disappeared to my cousin's couch in another state. Instead I typed, Alice, okay. Just dinner, I wore a dark green dress I hadn't touched since my last real date a lifetime ago, so one that made me feel pretty when pretty still felt passable. Victor's place was 2 floors down, corner unit, windows that actually opened. The table was set for 2, low music, something expensive breathing in a decanter. I greeted me with a kiss on the cheek that lended a fraction too close to my mouth. We talked about 18 set fest city politics, Senuca fish up and messe. The weird keeps climbing faster than Celis. Listened like a baby decide was brilliant. After months of being invisible, being listened to felt like oxygen. Then came the knock. Victor didn't look surprised. The TGV Marquez, I said, already moving to the door. Ese harmless, Marquez turned out to be the man with the scar. I stepped inside, carrying a bottle of whiskey like I'd been invited weeks ago. Another glass appeared. The conversation shifted, grunted. A hand brushed my knee under the table. A compliment about my neckline that wasn't about the dress at all. He left when he was supposed to. I drank when the glass appeared in front of me. I felt the round tilt, not from alcohol but from the slow realization that the evening had never been about dinner. I left before it went too far that night. Clutching an envelope Victor pressed into my palm for the inconvenience of our plumbing shade. Inside was enough cash to cover one full month plus late fees. I hated how steady my hand was when I took it. The second envelope came 2 days later, slid under my door at dawn. Inside, more money and Dabra, and panty set in midnight silk. Textile on, exactly my size. I should have thrown it away. I should have marched downstairs and told him where he could shop his silk, and his money and his assumptions. I put the set on. Instead and looked at myself in the mirror like I was watching someone else's life through warped glass. The envelope held a key card, and then addressed a few blacks over an empty corporate apartment kept for visiting clients, a note in Victoria's in its handwriting, Friday. Las 9 p.m. just as we went, I told myself it was to negotiate, to set boundaries, to finally say the things, I hadn't managed to say yet. But I wore Cecil Candace's dress and didn't take the elevator back down when I opened the door. Candles, music, champagne chilling in a bucket that probably cost more than my rent. Rose petals and seduvet like we way in some movie where descends wall. Another act. Victor smiled the way Adele smiles when the cards are already stacked. Marques again. Then another many didn't know. Then the night folded in on itself and I stopped counting doors or exits or how many times I told myself this was still my choice. I woke up alone in sheets that smelled like strangers. On the nightstand set an envelope thicker than that and a single post-it you wet effect. I showed until the water went cold and still felt coated. After that, Cerul's dissolved completely. There were more nights, more men, sometimes one, sometimes more than I could keep track of. After the first drink, Victor never asked. I simply sent an address, a time, an amount that appeared in my account. The next morning labeled consulting fee or gift. My silence became consent. My presence became product. My bank balance climbed, while everything else in me plummeted. I bought groceries without checking prices. I paid the electric bill early. I purchased a new coat that actually kept the wind out. None of it felt like winning. I started recognizing the other women in the building by the way they stopped meeting my eyes in the mailroom. Mrs. Delgado and two used to wave hello. Now she looked through me like it was made of smoke. One Sunday I put on the softest sweater gown and walked to the little stone church to relax over. I hadn't been inside since it was 12. The organ was playing something slow and minor. I slid into the back pew and tried to pray, but the only words that came were Ian sorry, over and over like a scratch record. Halfway through the sermon I stood up and left. The cold air outside felt cleaner than any absolution I didn't. That night I sat on my kitchen floor with a envelope the saved lined up in front of me like evidence. I counted the money more than I made in a year at my old job. Then I counted the cost and realized San Med has no numbers. I waited until Victor texted again Thursday, saying corporate unit. 2 new clients flying in from Chicago. I typed back the first and asked any the managed in months. Alice. No 3 dots disappeared. Appeared again Victor. We both know that isn't not how this works. I stared at the screen until my eyes bent. Then I did the thing I should have done the first night. I forwarded every message they sent me, every time, every address. Every mail threads to an email address. I looked up that afternoon. The city is a house in Authority Pline for tenant has maintained cohesion. I attached photos of the envelopes, the luncheon, the key cards. I wrote a statement that took 6 hours and left me shaking so hard I had to stop every few lines to breathe. I blind copied a journalist. I found WHO the written about landlords exploiting tenants during the last recession. Then I called my sister for the first time in a year and tried so hard she couldn't understand me until I finally managed. I need help coming home. 2 days later, the police knocked on Victor's door instead of mine. They took his phones, his laptops, his spare key cards, and kept in a locked drawer. Other women came forward, some from our building, some from the properties he managed across the river. The story broke wide open on a Thursday, same day he used to schedule me. They offered me witness protection, a no name, the whole dramatic package. I turned it down. I didn't want to disappear. I wanted to stand in the daylight and be Alice again. Even if she was scared and furious and still learning how to look people in the eye. I moved out the next week. My sister and her wife drove up with their truck and loaded the baby bags, while neighbors hadn't spoken to in months carried things downstairs without being asked. Mrs. Delgado pressed a paper bag up homemade tamales into my hands and whispered, "You're stronger than I ever was, mija. The new place is small. Second floor over a bakery that smells like cinnamon every morning. Rent is steep, but I got a remote design job that pays enough if I'm careful. Some nights I still wake up reaching for a fountain. Isn't a basin, still taste champagne I didn't ask for. Healing isn't linear. Some days I wear bright colors just because I can. Some days I sit in the shower and let the water run until the hat is gone and I remember I am still here. Still meaning I kept one thing from that year, the midnight silk set, not to wear. I cut it into pieces and used the scraps to wrap the little sack yelling. My sister gave me the day I moved in. It sits on my window so now. Rome Staven and green despite everything. If you release an ignorant some part of this story feels like it lives under your skin, please hear this. You are not the worst thing that has happened to you. You are not the thing they paid for. You are not the silence you swallow to survive. There is a way out even when every door feels well shut. Sometimes it starts with one word you were terrified to say. Sometimes it starts with forwarding a text or calling a sister or walking into a church and walking back out again still breathing. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to take up space again. You are allowed to be furious and still gentle with yourself. And if anyone ever tells you your body or your dignity has a price tag, you look them dead in the eye and say, not for Sally, not anymore. I am Alice. I am 29, almost 29. And for the first time in longer than I can remember. When I wake up tomorrow, the day will be mine to spend. However I choose, thank you for listening. If this reached you, pass it on. Someone out there still thinks they're too far gone. Remind them the story isn't over until they decide it is. You are not alone. And you never were.